Hey there, this video will only be a few minutes long, and if it's not, when you see me on the street, you are allowed to smack me in the face. Wow, this is some hot worship. I am so in the spirit right now. I feel it. I'm so pumped. What do you feel? Are you sure that's the spirit and not just your emotions? Huh? What's the difference? Just leave. Just leave. Just go. Just go. Worship is an interesting thing because most Christians think they do it in every service, but in reality, only a minority are actually doing it. Sometimes our worship and praise is based on how interesting the instruments are. If it's not hopping or head bumping, we say it hasn't gotten us to a place wherein we feel like we can worship God. So the question is, what is worship? Worship requires a deep reverence for God. You must be like a servant prostrating at the feet of his king. Anything less and you're just being swept by your emotions. John 4:23 says, "The hour is coming and now is the time when the true worshippers will worship the Father in spirit and in truth." It says, "For the Father is seeking such to worship him." Then verse 24 says, "God is spirit, and those who worship him must worship him in spirit and truth." What does worshiping God in spirit and truth mean? The word says God is spirit, so we can't really worship him in flesh. Does hyped music mean that you're worshiping God? How about when you get all emotional? And let's say you shed a tear because the song, the beats, the keyboard just, there's this high note and just gets to you. Is that worship? If hyped music is what worship is all about, then the nightclubs of this world would be great worship houses, And if being emotional is really what worship is all about, then guess what? Every soft song that makes you cry will be considered worship. Songs and beats can manipulate your emotions, but does that make it worship? This is where spirit and truth comes in. It defines what true worship is. You see, God is not glorified by accidental worship. It must be deliberate and truthful. You can have all the hype and emotional string tugging and still not have truth. Worship and praise is never about you. It's always about him. So when you turn praise and worship into finding out what entertains you instead of glorifying and surrendering to the king, at that point you've missed it. So what is the problem? The problem has always been our heart. You see, we find it difficult to surrender until we get the beat sounding just right, or our favorite singer singing the song exactly the way we like it, and then we feel stimulated enough to feel like we are truly surrendering. Take a look at Acts 17:24-23. "God who made the world and everything in it, since he is Lord of heaven and earth, does not dwell in temples made with hands, nor is he worshipped with men's hands, as though he needed anything, since he gives to all life, breath, and all things." You see, God does not need your hands to just clap for him. He wants you to worship in spirit and in truth. We can entertain ourselves all we want, but nothing changes because we aren't truly worshiping. Worship is not dependent on the song, or the band, or the lead singer. You see, worship comes from a place of truth. God will not share his praise and worship with you. It completely belongs to him. So I simply ask you, are you worshiping God in spirit and in truth? If you search your heart and you discover that you're not, then you've just watched this video for a reason.